Hello everyone, this is Dr. Kalpana and you're watching my YouTube channel Pharmacy Lessons Made Easy. In this video, we shall talk about good laboratory practices, and more specifically, we shall focus on how GLP actually emerged. So this series deals with the quality assurance overall, and the major focus right now will be good laboratory practices and how they originated. Okay, before coming to the definition of GLP, I shall talk about the different stages of drug discovery process. You can see the stages of drug discovery process in the link provided at the bottom of one of my video that I have prepared for understanding the different stages which are involved in the development of a drug product. If we talk about GLP, how it actually emerged, actually in the drug discovery process there are different stages. If you are able to recall, generally first stage is a discovery stage, second stage is non-clinical stage, third stage is clinical stage, fourth stage is post-approval stage, and then it goes to manufacturing. Okay, so approximately it is a time span of 12 years that a product comes into the market. So if we talk about these GLP principles, they are applicable only on the stage 2, that is non-clinical studies which are not carried out for human beings. So that is the main reason that GLP is restricted to a particular stage. Okay, and the GLP has emerged only because in earlier stages of production of the drugs, there was a step that is called new drug application. So while applying for that application, most of the pharmaceutical companies were not focusing on good laboratory practices which were being followed at stage 2. Okay, they are termed non-clinical as they are not performed in humans. Their primary purpose is safety testing. Actually, the toxicological and safety pharmacological studies with a potential extension to pharmacokinetics and bioavailability is done in those studies, and and it was mandatory now that they are in compliance with GLP. If we talk about how it actually emerged, the people were specifically, it originated in USA in 1970s because the major concern about the validity of known clinical safety data which was submitted to FDA with special context to NDA, as I already told you. So the inspection of studies and test facilities actually revealed that there were major incidences of inadequate planning and incompetent execution of the studies, which thereby led to insufficient documentation methods and results, and even many cases it led to fraud. So FDA's publication of proposed regulation on GLP in 1976 was done with an establishment of final rule in June 1979 under 21 CFR 58. So that GLP regulations provided the basis for assurance that the reports on the studies which are submitted to FDA would reflect faithfully and completely the experimental work which was carried out by them. On international level, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, also known as OECD, that assembled an expert group to formulate the first OECD principle of GLP. If we talk about the definition of GLP as per OECD principle, it is actually a quality system which is concerned with organizational processes and the conditions under which non-clinical health and environmental safety studies are planned, performed, monitored, recorded, archived, or reported. Right? So this is basic definition which covers every aspect. A pharmaceutical industry is opting for non-clinical study which is actually related to health and environment safety, for which the particular study is planned, executed, it is monitored also, recorded also, archived also, and reported also. So that quality system, GLP, is that quality system whose major focus is with the organizational process and the conditions under which the non-clinical health and environmental safety studies will be carried out. They are properly planned, they are properly performed, monitored, recorded, archived, and reported, right? So a number of OECD member countries have incorporated these principles into national legislation, notably the amendment in the European Union in Commission Directive 1999-11 EC of 8th March 1999 to the Council Directive of 18th December 1986, where GLP had first been introduced formally into European legislation, right? So as far as pharmaceutical development is concerned, where these GLP principles are applicable, okay, in the regulatory sense, it shall apply only to those studies which are non-clinical. That means mostly studies which are done on animals or in vitro studies that include analytical aspect of such studies. First thing, they should be non-clinical. Second, they are designed to obtain data on the properties or safety of items with respect to human health or environment. Okay. Third condition is they are intended to be submitted to a national registration authority with the purpose of registering or licensing the tested substances or any product which is derived from it. Moreover, depending on the national legal situation, the GLP requirement for non-clinical laboratory study conducted to evaluate drug safety cover the classes of studies which are single dose toxicity, repeated dose toxicity, that include subacute and chronic studies, reproductive toxicity which are related to fertility, embryo-fetal toxicity, teratogenicity, peri or postnatal toxicity, mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, toxicokinetics. That means pharmacokinetic studies which provide systemic exposure data for the above studies. Okay, pharmacodynamic studies which are designed to test the potential for adverse effects. That means safety pharmacology. And local tolerance studies involving phototoxicity, irritation, and sensitization studies, or testing for suspected additive or withdrawal effect of the drugs, right? So it must be clearly understood that only adherence to and compliance with all the requirements of OECD GLP principle constitutes the real compliance with good laboratory practices, GLP. Therefore, the use of similar terminology to describe quality practices outside the scope of GLP proper should be strongly discouraged, right? So it is actually, since the term GLP is not a trademark protected term, any laboratory may consider that it is following good practices in its daily work. So this does not comprise GLP compliance. Fine. So in today's discussion we have learnt about what GLP practices are, how they actually emerged, and in the next video of the series we shall talk about the scope, the limitations which are associated with GLP practices, and the subparts, more specifically subpart A and B. If you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe it on